Hey everyone, All in Arrowhead here. Week 5 had its fair share of surprises and statement games. The Broncos edged out the Eagles in a close matchup, the Cowboys overpowered the Jets, and the Texans dominated the Ravens from start to finish. The Colts proved resilient against the Raiders, the Panthers pulled out a late victory over the Dolphins, and the Saints finally got their first win of the season against the Giants. The Buccaneers and Seahawks went down to the wire in a thrilling clash, and the Titans and Cardinals had a game that dramatically shifted in the second half. Meanwhile, the Lions made a strong case for NFC contention with a big win over the Bengals, and the Commanders held firm against the Chargers with a solid all-around team effort. Individual performances, clutch plays, and defensive stops were everywhere, and several games hinged on late fourth-quarter heroics, showing how momentum can swing in an instant. My record is a little shaky after Week 5, but some of my picks held up, and there's plenty of excitement building heading into Week 6. With Minnesota and Houston on bye this week, other teams have a chance to climb in the standings, shake up their divisions, and make early playoff statements. From high-stakes London matchups to pivotal divisional games, every snap counts, and teams will be looking to prove they belong in the mix. Let's get into the games! The Eagles enter Week 6 looking to rebound after a stunning 21-17 loss to the Broncos. Philadelphia built a commanding 17-3 lead by the third quarter, highlighted by a 47-yard touchdown pass from Jalen Hurts to Saquon Barkley. However, Denver mounted an impressive fourth-quarter comeback, outscoring the Eagles 18-0. Broncos quarterback Bo Nix orchestrated 3 consecutive scoring drives, including a touchdown pass to Evan Engram, and a successful 2-point conversion, giving Denver its first lead at 18-17. The Broncos then added a field goal to seal the victory. Meanwhile, the Giants suffered a 26-14 defeat to the Saints. Rookie quarterback Jackson Dart connected with tight end Theo Johnson for 2 touchdowns, but turnovers plagued New York's offense. The Saints capitalized on these mistakes, including an 86-yard fumble return for a touchdown by safety Jordan Howden, turning the game in their favor. With both teams coming off losses, the Eagles' depth and experience should give them the edge in this matchup. I'm picking Philadelphia to win, improving to 5-1, while the Giants fall to 1-5. The Broncos head to London, riding real momentum after that 21-17 comeback win over the Eagles, a game that showcased Bo Nix's best NFL outing to date. He went 24 of 39 for 242 yards and a touchdown to Evan Engram, leading a composed second-half rally capped off by a 2-point conversion to Troy Franklin. Denver's offensive line settled down after halftime, giving Nix time to work the intermediate zones while the defense completely flipped the tone, outgaining Philly 156-15 in the fourth quarter and shutting them out after trailing 17-3. Meanwhile, the Jets continue to spiral after a 37-22 loss to the Cowboys, where Justin Fields posted some solid counting stats. 265 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, plus 47 on the ground, but still couldn't overcome a leaky offensive line and a defense that's completely out of rhythm. Dallas ripped them for over 450 total yards, converting third downs at will, and forcing Fields into constant catch-up mode behind a collapsing pocket. The contrast between these two teams is stark. Denver looks increasingly organized on both sides of the ball, while New York can't sustain drives and generate turnovers. Traveling across the pond won't help the Jets either. I'm rolling with Bo Nix and the Broncos to win in London and move to 4-2 while the Jets stumble to 0-6. The Seahawks come into this matchup after a heartbreaking 38-35 loss to Tampa Bay, where their offense came alive, but the defense couldn't seal the deal late. Sam Darnold looked sharp and composed, throwing for over 330 yards and 4 touchdowns, connecting often with Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp, who both found ways to exploit the Buccaneers' secondary. Kenneth Walker also chipped in with solid runs that helped extend drives, but costly turnovers, including a late interception, gave Tampa Bay the chance to steal the win. Defensively, Seattle struggled to contain Baker Mayfield and Emeka Egbuka, who torched the secondary for big gains throughout the game. Meanwhile, the Jaguars continued to build momentum after an impressive 31-28 win over Kansas City. Trevor Lawrence was efficient, throwing for 221 yards and adding a rushing touchdown in the closing seconds to seal the victory. Jacksonville's defense also played a major role, with linebacker Devin Lloyd's 99-yard pick six being the game's turning point. Both teams showed flashes of high-end play, but Jacksonville looked more balanced on both sides of the ball, while Seattle's defense remains inconsistent. I'm picking the Jaguars to win this one and move to 5-1, while Seattle drops to 3-3. The Los Angeles Chargers are coming off a disappointing 27-10 loss to the Washington Commanders, where they jumped out to a 10-0 lead, but were outscored 27-0 the rest of the way. Rookie running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt led Washington's comeback with over 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, while quarterback Jaden Daniels, in his return from injury, added a clutch 50-yard pass to Luke McCaffrey and a late fourth-down touchdown to Deebo Samuel. The Chargers' offense stalled after their early success, with Justin Herbert under constant pressure, sacked 5 times and throwing a red zone interception tipped at the line. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins suffered a crushing 27-24 defeat to the Carolina Panthers, despite leading 17-0 early. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa and wide receiver Jalen Waddle connected for a deep touchdown in the fourth quarter to briefly regain the lead, but the defense couldn't hold, allowing Carolina to score the game-winning touchdown. With both teams looking to rebound, the Dolphins' offense will need to find consistency without star receiver Tyreek Hill, while the Chargers must protect Herbert and establish a balanced attack. Given Miami's recent struggles and Los Angeles' potential for a bounce-back performance, I'm picking the Chargers to win this matchup, improving to 4-2, while the Dolphins fall to 1-5. The Rams arrive in Week 6 at 3-2 after suffering a gut-wrenching 26-23 overtime loss to San Francisco. They trailed in the fourth quarter, rallied behind Matthew Stafford's 389 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and even got a 48-yard field goal from Joshua Carty to force OT, only to be stopped on a 4th and 1 at the 49ers' 11 in overtime after San Francisco's defense stuffed Kyren Williams and Eddie Pinheiro's 41-yard kick held. The game also featured a late Williams fumble at the goal line near regulation's end that derailed what looked like a Rams go-ahead score. Meanwhile, Baltimore's season hit new lows in Week 5, being blown out 44-10 by Houston. The Texans' offense unleashed 4 touchdown passes from C.J. Stroud, including strikes to Xavier Hutchinson and Nico Collins, and their ground game churned against the Ravens' defense that looked gassed and undisciplined. Baltimore's offense never got off the mat, and pressure and turnovers were major factors in their collapse. Now in this matchup, you've got a Rams team that feels like it's one play away from regaining momentum, and a Ravens squad that looks broken down and without answers. Given Los Angeles' ability to stay in games even when down, and Baltimore's ongoing defensive breakdowns, I lean Rams to win this one, moving to 4-2 while Baltimore slips further to 1-5. The Arizona Cardinals come into Week 6 after a heartbreaking 22-21 loss to the Titans, where they blew a 21-6 lead late in the third quarter and were unable to close out the game, ultimately falling on a game-winning field goal by Joey Sly. Kyler Murray exited the game with a foot injury after a miscommunication on a snap from center Hjalte Froholdt led to a turnover, and backup Jacoby Brissett couldn't get the offense fully clicking, missing throws and failing to sustain drives. Arizona's running game was also inconsistent, and a critical fumble by Emani Demercado in the end zone erased one of their few scoring opportunities, highlighting how small mistakes have compounded into losses. Defensively, the Cardinals struggled to contain the Titans' rushing attack, giving up key third-down conversions and failing to generate pressure when it mattered most. In contrast, the Indianapolis Colts dominated the Raiders 40-6, with Daniel Jones spreading the ball efficiently to multiple targets, Jonathan Taylor rushing for 3 touchdowns, and the defense forcing multiple turnovers while shutting down Las Vegas' passing and rushing attack. The Colts displayed balance and control on both sides of the ball, a sharp contrast to the Cardinals' recent struggles with injuries, turnovers, and defensive lapses. With the Colts' steady quarterback play, dominant running game and opportunistic defense, I'm picking Indianapolis to win this matchup, improving to 5-1, while the Cardinals fall further to 2-4. The Cowboys come into Week 6 after a decisive 37-22 win over the Jets, a game in which Dak Prescott threw for 237 yards and 4 touchdowns, connecting twice with tight end Jake Ferguson and spreading the ball effectively despite missing several key targets. Running back Javonte Williams showcased his explosiveness, with 135 rushing yards and a touchdown, helping Dallas maintain balance between the run and pass game. The Cowboys' defense also made its presence felt, pressuring Justin Fields consistently, forcing a crucial fumble, and limiting big plays, demonstrating their ability to create momentum-changing stops. Carolina, meanwhile, pulled off a dramatic 27-24 comeback against the Dolphins, rallying from a 17-point deficit behind Bryce Young, who threw for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a game-winning 4-yard strike to Mitchell Evans with under 2 minutes left. Running back Rico Dowdle had a monster afternoon on the ground with 206 rushing yards and a touchdown, giving the Panthers a spark that their passing game alone could not provide. Carolina's defense stiffened late, shutting down Miami's chances and securing the victory, but the team still struggles with consistency and relies heavily on big individual performances. Heading into this matchup, Dallas's combination of a disciplined defense, reliable passing attack, and balanced run game gives them a clear edge over the resilient but streaky Panthers squad. I'm picking Dallas to win, moving to 3-2-1, while the Panthers fall to 2-4. New England enters this game after a gritty 23-20 win over Buffalo, one decided by rookie kicker Andy Borregales nailing the game winner. May showed composure in the fourth quarter, converting tough third downs and spreading the ball to Diggs and Henry to keep drives alive, while the defense forced key turnovers and held Buffalo off in the red zone. Meanwhile, New Orleans picked up its first win of the season in Week 5, capitalizing on 5 turnovers from the Giants, including an 86-yard fumble return for a touchdown by safety Jordan Howden, with Spencer Rattler throwing for 225 yards and an explosive 87-yard connection to Rashid Shaheed. The Saints' defense has been opportunistic, and their offensive weapons have flashed in spurts, especially in big play moments. The Patriots will need to be clean, no turnovers, and keep pressure on Rattler, while relying on their playmakers to create separation. Given New England's edge in consistency, their recent clutch win, and the added pressure on New Orleans' passing attack, I lean towards the Patriots in this one, which would push them to 4-2, while the Saints drop to 1-5. The Browns come into Week 6, reeling from their 21-17 loss to the Vikings in London, where Dylan Gabriel led a mostly steady outing but faltered in crunch time. After a late defensive stand looked to have sealed the win, Cleveland's secondary collapsed, giving up an 18-yard touchdown from Carson Wentz to Jordan Addison with just 25 seconds left. Myles Garrett and the front seven kept it close all afternoon, but the offense couldn't capitalize on short fields, a recurring issue for this 1-4 squad. As for Pittsburgh, they're coming off a Week 5 bye following their hard-fought 24-21 victory over those same Vikings back in Week 4 in Dublin, Ireland. Aaron Rodgers delivered one of his best performances yet in black and gold, highlighted by an 80-yard strike to DK Metcalf that completely swung momentum and silenced the Irish crowd. The Steelers' defense was equally impressive, forcing 2 takeaways and holding Minnesota scoreless in the final frame. Both teams have shown flashes. Cleveland's defense can dominate in stretches, while Pittsburgh's offense is finally meshing with Rodgers' deep ball rhythm. But the Steelers are the more complete team coming off rest and confidence. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win this one, improving to 4-1, while the Browns slip to 1-5. The Tennessee Titans enter Week 6 with a 1-4 record, coming off a dramatic 22-21 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Rookie quarterback Cam Ward led the offense, connecting with wide receiver Tyler Lockett for a bizarre touchdown, where a tipped pass turned into a fumble recovery in the end zone. Running back Tyjae Spears made his season debut after recovering from a high ankle sprain, adding depth to the backfield. Defensively, the Titans capitalized on a Cardinals snap blunder, leading to a crucial turnover. In contrast, the Las Vegas Raiders are also 1-4, coming off a 40-6 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Quarterback Geno Smith struggled with consistency, and the offense failed to establish a rhythm, despite a standout 33-yard reception by wide receiver Trey Tucker. The defense showed flashes of promise, with defensive end Max Crosby recording a powerful tackle for loss against Colts running back Jonathan Taylor. With both teams seeking to turn their seasons around, this matchup presents an opportunity for one to gain momentum. Given the Titans' recent victory and the Raiders' struggles, I predict Tennessee to edge out Las Vegas, improving to 2-4, while the Raiders fall to 1-5. The San Francisco 49ers come into Week 6 with a 4-1 record, coming off a tight 26-23 overtime win against the Los Angeles Rams, where Mac Jones threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Christian McCaffrey contributed heavily both in the passing and running game. Their defense showed resilience late in the game, stopping Rams running back Kyren Williams on a critical 4th down in overtime to seal the win. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also 4-1, fresh off a thrilling 38-35 victory over the Seattle Seahawks, highlighted by Baker Mayfield completing 29 of 33 passes for 379 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a clutch 11-yard touchdown to Sterling Shepard with just over a minute left to tie the game. Rachaad White stepped up with 2 rushing touchdowns, and Levante David's late interception set up Chase McLaughlin's game-winning 39-yard field goal. Both teams showcased dynamic offenses and disciplined defenses, but given Tampa Bay's recent ability to make big plays in clutch moments and their balanced attack through the air and on the ground, I'm leaning towards the Buccaneers to take this one, pushing their record to 5-1 while the 49ers drop to 4-2. The Bengals are heading into this matchup after a tough 37-24 loss to the Detroit Lions, a game where quarterback Jake Browning threw for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns, but was plagued by 3 critical interceptions, including one deep in their own territory that led directly to a Lions score. Their running game was ineffective, gaining just 68 total yards, and the offensive line struggled to contain Detroit's pass rush, surrendering multiple pressures and a strip sack that shifted momentum early. Defensively, Cincinnati allowed 258 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, highlighting struggles against both the run and short to intermediate passing game. On the other side, the Green Bay Packers come off a 40-40 tie against the Cowboys in Week 4 and a Week 5 bye, with Jordan Love showing precision, completing 28 of 43 passes for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also spreading the ball efficiently to multiple receivers. The Packers' running game, led by Josh Jacobs, has been reliable in both short yardage situations and open field bursts, and their defense has been opportunistic with 11 sacks and 2 interceptions through 4 games, showing an ability to capitalize on mistakes like those the Bengals made against Detroit. Cincinnati's turnover issues and inconsistent pass protection give Green Bay an edge, and considering the Packers' offensive balance and ability to control the tempo, I'm picking Green Bay to win this one, improving to 3-1-1, while Cincinnati falls to 2-4. The Lions come in after a big 37-24 win over Cincinnati, where Jared Goff threw for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns, spreading it around between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, while Jahmyr Gibbs added a few tough runs that kept drives alive. Detroit's defense also delivered when it counted, picking off Jake Browning 3 times and turning the tide in the second half. On the Chiefs' side, Kansas City dropped a thriller 31-28 to Jacksonville in Week 5. Patrick Mahomes threw for 318 yards and a score, but his interception was returned 99 yards by Devin Lloyd, completely shifting momentum. Kareem Hunt fought back with 2 late touchdowns, but the Chiefs couldn't close it out. Lawrence's final 1-yard scramble with under 30 seconds remaining sealed it. With Rashee Rice suspended for 6 games, the Chiefs have looked to receivers like Marquise Brown, Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy, and Juju Smith-Schuster to shoulder more load. Worthy, after earlier injury concerns, was active in their last game and even caught multiple passes. Meanwhile, the Chiefs' running game has leaned on Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt to crack defenses up the middle. This sets up a clash: Detroit's opportunistic defense and balanced offense versus Kansas City's star quarterback, adjusted receiver core, and high-stakes urgency. I'm picking Kansas City to bounce back and win this one, moving to 3-3 while the Lions drop to 4-2. The Bills are coming off a tough 23-20 loss to New England, a game that slipped away late despite another solid outing from Josh Allen, who threw for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. His lone interception proved costly though. It set up a Patriots scoring drive that put them up by 10 in the fourth quarter before Allen rallied the offense to tie things up. But with under 2 minutes left, the defense faltered, allowing New England to march downfield and set up rookie Andy Borregales' 52-yard game-winning field goal as time expired. For New England, Stephon Diggs continued to shine with 10 receptions and 146 yards, but Buffalo's offense stalled on key third downs, and the run game couldn't provide balance when it mattered most. Meanwhile, the Falcons are coming off a bye after a 34-27 win over Washington in Week 4, where Michael Penix Jr. looked sharp with over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Bijan Robinson shredded the Commanders' defense with more than 175 scrimmage yards and a rushing score. Atlanta's offense is young and exciting, but its secondary has been vulnerable to big plays, a dangerous flaw against Allen. With that extra motivation from last week's collapse, I think the Bills come out firing in Atlanta and handle business. I've got Buffalo taking this one to move to 5-1, while Atlanta falls to 2-3. The Chicago Bears are coming off a thrilling 25-24 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 4, where they showcased resilience and clutch plays. Quarterback Caleb Williams threw for 214 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Rome Odunze made a significant impact with a 27-yard touchdown reception. The Bears' defense stepped up late in the game, with Josh Blackwell blocking a potential game-winning field goal attempt by the Raiders. After a Week 5 bye, the Bears are well-rested and looking to build on their momentum. The Washington Commanders are coming off a decisive 27-10 road victory over the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 5. Quarterback Jaden Daniels, returning from a knee injury, threw for 231 yards and a touchdown, while rookie running back Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt rushed for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Commanders' defense was opportunistic, forcing key turnovers and sacking Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert 5 times. The last time these teams met was in Week 8 of the 2024 season, where a Hail Mary pass from Daniels to Noah Brown secured a dramatic victory for Washington. With both teams coming off strong performances, this matchup promises to be closely contested. Considering the Commanders' recent form and home field advantage, I'm picking Washington to edge out Chicago, which would move the Commanders to 4-2, while the Bears would drop to 2-3.